to be too bright because this is supposed to be spooky. So this is not, oh my god, excuse me. This is not the background you asked for, but it's the one you got. Okay, do you want to lay on my lap or, okay, you don't. Obviously. So anyway, I wanted this to be kind of like, I guess, a darker background, if that makes sense. Darker lighting, not background. Okay, anyway. So welcome to Spooky October. This is an idea I came up with because I wanted to make true crime videos without having a true crime channel. So Allie Ray Life is a channel idea that I came up with that kind of lets you into the parts of my life that aren't makeup and also probably aren't reading, because I'm thinking of starting a reading channel. But anyway, so that's why I came up with this. So this isn't a lifestyle video, but it's something that I'm interested in, so you kind of get to see me in a new light, if you will. So I'm not going to dilly-dally, we're going to go ahead and get started. So for Spooky October, I didn't want to really choose murders. I wanted to choose more just kind of like spooky stuff. Ideally, I wanted some ghost stories, but I couldn't really find any ghost stories that I was like really vibing to try. So I don't think we're going to get any ghost stories this month. But our first story, let me pull it up on my little computer here. Oh, it's going to take forever, isn't it? So our first story that we have for the month is going to be the Lost Colony of Roanoke. This is a case that I have loved and been obsessed with since I was a wee little gal, okay? When I was a literal child, my school went on a field trip to where the Lost Colony is. And I mean, imagine being in like the 4th grade, right? And being obsessed with things that you are not supposed to be obsessed with, such as ghost stories. Hold on, let me turn up the lighting a little bit. I think this will still be a spooky, still a spooky vibe, right? So imagine being a wee little girl, being obsessed with things that you're not supposed to be obsessed with, such as true crime. And imagine being able to go to the place where this group of people just goes missing. I mean, it truly sparked something inside of me. And so ever since, I've been really, really obsessed with it. So just some like housekeeping things. I will post where I got this information down in the description box. Just know it's mostly Wikipedia. I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with that info. If I'm looking this way, it's because I'm looking at my computer. I don't have this stuff memorized, okay? So in August of 1587, 115 settlers arrived in Roanoke. I believe they were supposed to be what Jamestown was, which was supposed to be the first colony. The leader was John White. And for whatever reason, John was like, you know, they got to the place where they're supposed to be, and John was like, yo, I'm gonna head out, okay? So you guys are just gonna have to deal. Keep in mind, a lot of these settlers were women and children. They were gonna bring the men later. So a lot of them were women and children. Specifically for him, his wife and daughter, I believe, were left behind. Or was it his granddaughter and daughter or something? But needless to say, when he came back, all of the settlers were gone without a trace. There was not a single one left. Croatoan, that's like the big word. If you've ever seen the American Horror Story version of this, Croatoan was carved into a wooden post, and Croatoan was the name of the tribe that was really close by. And if you know anything about American history, you know that colonists and tribes don't always get along because they stole all of the tribe's land. So, needless to say, I hope I'm in focus because my camera is like being really odd. The funny part about all of this is that they weren't actually able to search for evidence once they came back, and it had already been a long time before John White came back. I'm not able to see how long it was, but it had been like 3 years. Like, John left, and as he was leaving, he got caught up in the Spanish War. God, got interrupted by a phone call that took a lot longer than I expected, so my camera's probably gonna die, and I don't know where I left off. But I don't know why I didn't write this down, because this was like very important to the story. But basically, James White didn't return until I believe like 1561. And he was gone for about 3 years, and when he came back, all of them were gone. And when they were, when a ship docks, they dock out in the ocean, and a storm was coming, so they either had to decide whether they were going to stay or whether they were going to leave. But since they were returning to nothing, they just decided to leave. So this story is interesting because since it was so long ago, they really don't have a whole lot of evidence to prove one way or another, but there are tons and tons of theories about what happened, everything from like alien abduction to like hurricanes. So that's the big thing that I wanted to talk about, because I feel like the theories for this are so interesting, because it's not very exciting to just think about like, oh, a colony, like, but no one knows like how long they were even there. Like, it's that much of a mystery, and he was gone for so long that there's really not a way to tell how long. The biggest one definitely is that they were killed by the Croatoan tribe. This is controversial in the sense that like, you kind of, when it comes to cases like this, Steven, get off of that. No. My cat knocked over the light. Hold on. And especially because Croatoan was written on a wooden post, that's something that has definitely crossed people's minds. There's also another theory that the settlers actually joined a tribe. It's theorized that they joined the Hatteras tribe to make up for their lack of resources. This is a little bit more likely because the Croatoan tribe, there had been some tension between the Croatoan tribe and the settlers, and so it would be very unlikely for them to team up with the Croatoan tribe. But the Hatteras tribe, a little bit is less known about that. And it would be likely that they needed resources, because the whole reason that John White left was to acquire resources to bring back to the settlers. And one piece of evidence that they use for this is called the Dare Stones. Supposedly they were carved and drawn by Virginia, which is John White's, I believe it's his granddaughter, to tell a story, but many believe that they were faked or forged. But then some researchers think at least one is real. So again, not a whole lot to go by. This is how many years ago? 500, 400? So hard to say. But luckily for us people that love mysteries, since 1998, the Croatoan Project has been working to find ancestors of the lost colony on Hatteras Island, since that's where they theorize that they could have gone. They've begun DNA testing to see if they can find a link, but so far nothing definitive has been proven. So again, with the Hatteras tribe, even though this is a theory, it's also kind of unlikely that the colonists would move in to take up resources, because during that time, resources were so hard to come by for everyone. So the likelihood of a tribe wanting to team up with other people that didn't really have a whole lot to give in the first place would probably be unlikely. And the history of colonists and tribes teaming up also suggests that this is pretty unlikely. There is a supposed map that archaeologists located that suggested that the colonists had a safe point to go to in the event of something bad happening, but it could also be a ruse. The map was the most likely a state secret, and even though it wasn't a military expedition, it's very likely that, John White especially would not have wanted people to find this map, and since it was found so easily, it's probably not likely that it was true. It was probably likely to be used to get people to go in a different direction. There's definitely, again, the most popular theory is that they were killed by one of these tribes, and this is the one that's could be most easily proven. The problem with that, and I think the problem that I have, and I didn't see anything about this, but if that's the case, where are the bodies? There's no, especially since the Croatoan Project is doing work to find DNA, I would assume that they would, I think they are, there's something in here about them excavating graves to try to find remains, but I don't know, it just seems kind of odd. So another very likely theory is that if they were attacked, then the groups would have dispersed, which would mean that that's why they think that they could have gone to the Hatteras tribe. There is a chance if they were in a smaller group that they would be more likely to be taken in, 100 something settlers, maybe not, but 10, 20, 30, maybe. So again, that's why they're doing that DNA testing. And again, it's also possible that every single one of them died, which means that there would be no DNA to. So another possibility that a lot of people discussed is that because there was something called New World microbes, which I never even thought about, but this whole, America back then was so new, and there were so many new bacteria that they hadn't been used to back in Europe. And Europe had its own, dangerous microbes, but the microbes being so different, plus they probably had weakened immune systems from traveling on a boat. So it is possible that they just all caught some sort of horrible plague and died. I believe the pilgrims were always sick because of the New World microbes that people talk about. So that to me seems a lot more likely, either that or getting killed by a tribe. But again, you would think that if they died, that's they would have found bones or something when John White came back, and they didn't. They were all gone. It is also possible that people started dying and again they dispersed, and with that being said, they maybe they wouldn't have been able to find something, but yeah, it is possible. And if this would have happened, they would have all had to have died before they had the chance to repopulate, which would make sense since the colonists were mostly women and children. There was another tribe that they thought that they could have, I don't want to say infiltrated. They're called the Mataquam, and there isn't much known about them, but they have been verified as a tribe. And again, it's important to note that that probably wasn't the case. There's also evidence to suggest that there was bad blood between them and the Secotin, so they definitely wouldn't have accepted them. And a lot of, I put all my shit out of order, but the evidence to support that it was a tribe killing was that when the colonists arrived in 1585, someone killed a prominent Native American leader, and so there was literally tension from the beginning. I don't know why they killed them, but they did. This is again supported by something similar happening in Jamestown. Don't know what that similarity is, but something happened in Jamestown. And they were also attacked by the Croatoan before John White even left. Why John White chose to still leave them, I don't know, but he did. But they were attacked before then. So another prominent theory and another reason people think that they were all killed off is that their actual location, since it was an inlet part of the Albemarle Sound, could have protected them from their remains being found. I guess the tide has changed or something. I can't remember if it's that the water backed up or came forward. I believe it came forward. So they have a lot of land. I think it's 750 meters of water that we've, how long has this not been recording? I do not know. Thanks to hurricanes and global warming, we've gained 750 meters of water in that specific area. So that definitely would have protected their remains if there were any to be found. And they've searched the land extensively, but they haven't searched the water extensively. That would be a lot of water to search. So a couple other theories. Of course, they could have been abducted by aliens, but there's also a theory that a zombie plague took them. I don't necessarily believe in that a zombie plague took them, but it is possible that there was some sort of plague that killed off a lot of people. In the meantime, they ran out of food, so it is possible that they began killing people and eating the bodies. That is a possibility. Who knows? Lastly, there is a theory, and also with that, there is a theory that like someone got sick, they tainted meat, and then everyone ended up dying, which of course is possible. There's also a theory that they were wiped out by a hurricane. However, this is just proved by the fact that a lot of the fences that were built are still standing. We do know though that hurricanes can do weird shit, tornadoes can do weird shit, and they can like wipe out one part of land and not another. You know, it's possible that they were out hunting in one area and it killed them. You know, they wouldn't have known what a hurricane looked like. They would not have been able to see the signs and all that stuff. But it doesn't mean that they couldn't have died that way. Storm surge is real and flooding is real, and they would have had no way to prepare. And it doesn't flood like that in England, so like they wouldn't have known that like water rising, you know, the amount of rain that they were getting, because it rains all the time over there. But again, they found no geographical evidence proving that. So, but that's pretty much it about them. There's still not a lot that's known about them. It's a huge mystery and I find it so interesting. I'm not normally into things that happened so long ago, but I think because this was one of the first mysteries that I was ever really into, I think I've just always kind of had like this feeling about it. I would love to know what happened to them. I think I have the same type of like feeling of want about them that I do about Mara Murray. Like those are two cases that I'm like dying. I just want to know so bad. What do you think happened to them? Put your theories down below if you have anything. I hope this was informative. I'll put all my sources down in the description box. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying it so far. I believe next week we're going to talk about an insane asylum. So get ready for that because it has a lot of mysterious stuff involved. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram and I will see you in my next video. Bye!